Hey guys, this is Courtney from Willows Bloom, and today we're going to be discussing the Scorpio Lunar Eclipse, which is a full moon happening on May 5th at 14 degrees of Scorpio. It is almost 15 degrees, so it's really close between the two. It's 14 degrees and 58 seconds. So if you have any planets around 14, 15, or plus or minus a few of the fixed degrees of the fixed signs, this will be impacting you the most, especially if you have any planets like that in Taurus or Scorpio. So this eclipse is one in which we might have some radical shifts and endings in our life because Scorpio has a lot to do with regeneration. It's ruled by Pluto, which is the god of the underworld. And Pluto has everything to do with things that are quite literally subterranean. So this is gas, oil, minerals, things that you'll find in the earth. And Scorpio as well rules not only our sex organs, but it also rules things that we physically purge out of the body, like all of the liquids that we purge out of the body. So it's really interesting to have this eclipse happen in a sign like this because things that have been deeply buried within us are finally becoming purged, released, and let go of. And in many ways, I feel like this is wrapping up a cycle and a period of time that was maybe feeling like an uphill battle. That's what I'm seeing with the cards here with the Five of Swords. I feel like many of us have been going through the experience of either internal anxiety or having to fight for something that we want or struggling against something in our life that may have felt chaotic, that may have felt out of our control, that may have felt like it wasn't progressing or we didn't have the willpower or the knowledge or the understanding to move something forward in the way that we needed to. Maybe we kept butting up against certain blockages, either internally or externally in our lives, that made us feel like we weren't making progress and like we kept getting set back, or we were in a state of confusion that made us feel like we didn't even know the way forward or what we wanted. So it's going to look different for all of us, but it feels like it's manifesting in a form of fighting or anxiety or mental chatter, basically a lot of back and forth type of energy that isn't settled, that isn't direct, that isn't manifesting in the way that we desire. But the next card that I chose is the Six of Wands, which is a card of visibility, of things working out, becoming triumphant. And I think that this is saying that we are going to triumph over that difficult cycle by having this lunar eclipse bring about an ending for us. Eclipses take 6 months to fully unfold. However, this eclipse energy is definitely going to bring about some endings and changes that are immediate because it is conjunct Uranus, not the moon, but the sun, which is opposite where this moon is taking place. So the sun conjunct Uranus and Taurus is bringing about very sudden, erratic, and changeable energy that can liberate us from these ongoing cyclical things that we've been stuck in. And the nodes are going to change signs soon. So the nodes right now are at 4 degrees of Scorpio and Taurus. And so they don't have very much longer to be in this nodal axis. You know, we only get a year and a half of a collective experience of evolution, pressure points being on Scorpio and Taurus or in any, axis of signs. So we're wrapping up that cycle. And in order to get that last oomph, we're having this eclipse take place, kind of trying to help us complete energies that have been lingering, that we've been really trying to resolve maybe over the past year or so, but we haven't quite gotten our hands on it yet, or we haven't quite figured it out yet, or moved past it yet. And this eclipse is giving us a huge burst of energy to do that. And some of it can be erratic, sudden, unexpected. And that's the thing about, doing these forecasts and Uranus and your own natal charts is there's so many things that can happen. Uranus is a planet that is unpredictable in its nature, and it's going to aspect your charts in very specific ways. So it's not going to be possible to really tell you what will happen for you. And oftentimes the things that we think will happen end up being a little bit different. Uranus is a planet of surprise. So if you're not a little bit surprised, or if things don't happen suddenly, or if there aren't any twists and turns in your path, then I will be surprised. This is, of course, doesn't mean that everyone's going to be impacted in a super big way. It will depend on how it hits your natal chart, what your personal experience is. So if you're ever interested in something like that, you can always grab a reading from me. But in general, I feel like for most of us, it's trying to wrap up a chapter or a cycle and help us become victorious over things that may have felt like were keeping us stuck, or were negative influences on us, or were combating us, or were giving us internal conflict, or giving us anxiety. Those things are, again, progressing for the first time in a long time. The next card I pulled was the Page of Cups, which is an indication of positive change, especially next to the Sun card. And I feel like many of us are going to be turning some kind of corner. So whatever this heavy circumstance was, it's becoming much more emotionally uplifting. I feel like we're gaining clarity, we're gaining confidence, we're gaining physical vitality, because we're no longer having to sort this one area of our life out. It's almost like things clear up and we have a lot more capacity to put towards the things that we enjoy, because it's not feeding into the uncertainty or the chaos or whatever it was anymore. It's like it frees up a ton of energy. And again, makes things, I think, a lot clearer and confident, which I think is something that when you have it, it feels really good. But when you don't have it, you really, really miss it. That level of clarity. And sometimes you don't even realize how important in our everyday lives clarity can feel. We also have the Ten of Swords as the last card that I pulled, which of course is an indication of a finality, of an ending that cannot be reversed, of a stage that cannot be uncompleted or gone back to. It's done. It is fully done. The Ten of Swords represents this transition from one life into the next, and you can't decide to go back and experience a life again. And so that's really what's happening here, is we are being reborn. And that's the very Scorpio essence, is that you are transformed in such a way that you can no longer unknow the things that you know. You can no longer be unimpacted by your past, and it changes you it changes you at your core. I do think that because it's a Scorpio eclipse, it can bring up a lot of our internal fears. Scorpio tends to bring us to the depths because it is ruled by Pluto, the god of the underworld. So there's usually some element of us having to face a fear, or having to face our own egoic death, or make some really big transitions, let go of things that we have been really attached to for a level of comfort. And it's pushing us outside of that comfort zone and over the edge into a little bit of the unknown. But I don't really see it as like indicating that we're embarking on something new. It feels like it's purely a completion of something that has been rattling us for far too long. And again, Uranus energy with the sun here is bringing in the element of instability and progress. So if there has been something in your life that you felt like has been really kind of mundane and every day is the same, and you're ready and willing and wanting a change in that area of your life, if that feels like a focus to you, or wherever you have Taurus, I should say, but if you don't know your chart, you might be able to just feel it. You'll start to see that that area is getting some new energy poured into it. And that is where we can start to see things unfold over the next 6 months. But in terms of radical change, I think that's going to first look like an ending of something that was preventing that new energy from coming in. This eclipse is also conjunct Mercury, which is currently retrograde in Taurus. So I think for many of us, we may have had specific ways of thinking or specific plans, especially, that need to be revised, because Mercury is a very changeable and adaptable planet, but it's in Taurus, which really wants to have something solid to ground itself into. It wants to feel like it knows where it's going, that it has a consistent routine, that it has a goal, that it can expect something in its life. And Mercury being retrograde here is having us adapt a little bit within that fixed mindset or our existing expectations. So if you are needing to end something, or if something does end, or if massive change starts occurring in your life and things are unstable and they're in flux and you don't really know, it's like a limbo or a transition phase, your Mercury retrograding in Taurus is going to help you create roots in that change. So it's almost like helping you revise the way that you looked at things before, helping you revise expectations. And some of the worst things that we can do to ourselves as humans is have expectations that go unmet, that leave us feeling disappointed, that we're scared to hope for things in the future. It's like that can be a really hard thing that we go through. But when Mercury is retrograde in Taurus, it's giving us a greater capacity to be understanding of why things have to change and why our way of looking at things have to change. So the universe is trying to support us in this normally very rigid, fixed energy or way of thinking, is trying to support us to re-examine that and question things a little bit more than we're used to questioning them. So I think that the Sun and Mercury together in this eclipse will help bring the clarity around, again, why that needs to happen. Like, this is a divine intervention. And I think that it's going to, again, facilitate that whole process in a much better way. Jupiter is still loosely conjunct the North Node during this eclipse. And so I think we're still going to get this Sun and positive energy coming as a result of it. However, it might, again, feel a lot more emotionally volatile because, again, this is an eclipse. That's a full moon. So eclipses, they bring about really fated events. And with it being a full moon, which is highly emotionally charged, it's saying that there's going to be some big things that can happen to us that stir us on a really deep core level and question really impactful core elements of our life. Again, this won't happen to everyone, but those who this eclipse is aspecting personal planets are going to be forever changed by this. And Scorpio is a sign that is water, right? It's emotional in nature already. It can be a little bit intense in its way of feeling. And so adding all those things on top of each other, we can see that, again, it's really going to kind of stir us and bring out often the shadows because it is a fixed sign. It wants to face things and change things and purge and regenerate, but it's also scared of it at the same time. I always see this interesting conundrum with Scorpio that the thing that I desire is a thing that I fear. And I think that many of us will have to go through that kind of experience where we desire this change and we desire to get to the other side, but we have to confront some kind of fear or let something go that could feel, again, existential in order to get to what that desire is. And so it's just a lot of feeling. This full moon is also making a trine to Mars. The moon in Scorpio is trining Mars in Cancer. Again, even more feeling here. Mars is a traditional ruler of this moon of Scorpio. So its nature is very important in the story of this eclipse and for both eclipses. And Mars being in the sign of Cancer can indicate a lot of changes that affect us, again, on a deep emotional level, that maybe affect the way that we interact with our family or the way that we feel at home in ourselves. It can break us out of old patterning. It can affect the place that we live. I notice a lot of people are moving, and that's because Mars, the ruler of this eclipse, is in Cancer, which has to do with our home. So many people are feeling displaced or in a transition or uncertain of where they want to live or wanting to end an old cycle of an old home. But this, again, can be related to anything Cancer: women, children, family, emotions, the way that we eat and treat our body, our habits, our history. So really digging into those things in particular and asking yourself what needs to end in order for new life to begin. So look at those Cancer themes, but also look at what house you have Scorpio in to kind of try to decipher where you are meant to be instigating change. And I will say that eclipses of this nature with the sun and Uranus together are going to have divine fated elements to them. So while you want to create some kind of change, often because of the things stirring up around the eclipse emotionally, you're going to want to shift things. There's also going to be things that happen to you that push you to create those changes. Otherwise, we would just continue to want them and not do anything about it like we've been doing for so long, right? It's almost like we have to have the rug ripped out from under us, or that sounds too intense, but we have to have something push us over the edge to make that change. And that could look like the house that you're renting being sold, which just happened to a bunch of friends of mine. Or I was just talking to a woman that I rent this office with, and she was saying that her daughter was thinking about moving, but it was her nanny leaving that finally instigated that desire. So we're all going to have those things that kind of push us. So just look out for the signs and synchronicities the universe is trying to offer you. I do think that whatever changes that we make, decisions that we make, conversations that we have, I really feel like they're going to be solid and sustainable into the future. Because again, the North Node is in Taurus, which is about longevity. But also Mercury next to the sun is making a sextile to Saturn in this eclipse. And Mercury and Saturn together in a positive aspect have us plan for our future in a way that is sustainable, in a way that is long lasting, that can actually maintain itself. And so I feel like there is almost like some element of practicality woven into what happens during this eclipse. Maybe there's some erratic change, but we're needing to be practical, and we're encouraged by the universe to think about how these changes that we're making right now are not temporary, but are long lasting. I do see a little bit of some impulsiveness though. So I'm glad that we have Mercury sextile Saturn to ground us and become practical, because with Mars making a square to Jupiter, many of us can get a little bit of our hopes up during this eclipse. Sometimes with Mars and Jupiter, we are so confident, we're so exuberant in a square like this, which means that they're kind of not really on the same, they're not really benefiting each other as much as they could be. And I'm not going to go super into that. Squares are really, really good and really helpful. But in general, when we see a square, there's usually some challenge involved in that. And the challenge here is that we might feel like we know what to do, or we want to move forward, or we want to move forward quickly. But we might feel a little bit either emotionally conflicted, or we might be a little bit too impulsive in our decisions. We might not see all of the necessary like warning signs, or we might not see the whole picture yet, because Jupiter in Aries is very gung-ho. And again, Mars can make us almost, especially being a sign of Cancer, almost like emotionally volatile and making decisions from a very emotional place, and just being like, well, I don't want this anymore, so I'm going to leave, and instead of being more careful in our execution of our decisions. So we're going to have this interesting mix of energy between being emotionally reactive and making decisions from that place, and then also a more calculated part of ourselves that's like, okay, but how does this work long term? How does this work practically? I don't know. So I think that these can help really balance each other out, which thank goodness. Something else that I'm really excited about during this eclipse is also that Venus is in Gemini, and it's sextiling Jupiter. So I really feel like whatever does come about from this eclipse is leading to blessings for us. I think especially when it comes to our relationships or the way that we think about things, those areas of our life can drastically improve because of the decisions that we make or the events that occur at this time. And Jupiter in Aries, as I mentioned, is like very enthusiastic about life. So I feel like some of us might be getting a little bit more of like a zest for life back. And I think, again, that kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier about energy being depleted, worrying about something or something being unresolved. And now it's like, okay, this is done. Now, what are we thinking about next? What are my next ideas? What social activities do I want to do? Where do I want to travel? It's like a very vivacious energy, and it really corresponds with the season that we're in. We're in spring. It's absolutely gorgeous. We're going to be moving into summer soon. Many of us are making plans. It's a lot of energy around like looking ahead. What's next? What blessings are in my life? What do I want to bring about even more blessings with? And it just feels like a very hopeful energy and very supportive of that just came out of nowhere. Financial endeavors, it could be, because it is Venus, which is related to finances, relationship endeavors, and learning, traveling, all the things that feel honestly really exciting in life. Okay. So I pulled a bunch of cards that I feel like are maybe indicative of different experiences that we could go through. And I think it's going to be, again, different for everyone depending on what's going on in your life and how this aspects your chart. So I will mention these, but keep in mind that it's not going to be applicable to everyone. Maybe one of these cards fits you and one of them doesn't. So the first card that we have is She Who Avenges, Nemesis, Revenge, Outcomes, and Justice. So I like this because this is Scorpio energy, which is super into revenge, to be honest. They are somebody that, like Scorpio energy, is very loyal and has a fear of betrayal. And when there is some kind of betrayal, there is a grudge or a desire for revenge that can often be held on to. It's a fixed sign. It holds its energy, especially its emotional energy. So I think for many of us, that could come out at this time, or it could be released. So it's like, okay, I really was holding on to something from my past, and I'm finally deciding to let it go. I'm finally deciding to no longer hold on to this desire for revenge. Or maybe there is a full justice outcome where there's something that's been going on that feels unfair or feels out of balance, and we're finally getting some kind of justice at this time. Another card that I pulled is Sadness, She Who Aches, Sadness, Solitude, Silence, and Withdrawal. So I think some of us could be going through a phase of maybe feeling a little bit more isolated as a result of these changes that are happening in our life. Maybe we feel sad because of the things that we've had to let go of. There's usually always some mourning process, even if it's something that has been kind of driving us insane or has been complicating our lives. Oftentimes, when we have to let something go and make such a big change that we've been putting off for so long, it's usually because there's mourning that needs to happen around that. We can't just say no and like let it go or change because we're attached to it in some way. And so I think many of us might go through a period of feeling withdrawn and sad because of that need to mourn. We also have She Who Doubts, Fear, Wariness, and Trust. So I think many of us are being called to trust right now, which is hard to do with a Scorpio eclipse. There's usually a feeling of needing to be on guard, needing to have control, needing to know what's next. And it could make us really tired. And if that is something that you've been holding on to for a while, I think many of us might go through the process of releasing that and actually learn how to relax and trust and be present, which is very much the North Node in Taurus. Taurus is like the most present sign out of all of them. It rules nature. And nature couldn't be more present. Nature is not planning ahead for what's happening tomorrow. It's always happening in the present moment. So I think many of us are transitioning into that, but we might have to face some of those fears to transition into a state of trust, surrender, and presence. The next card I have is She Who Nurtures, Empathy, Gentleness, and Insight. So I definitely think with Mars being the sign of Cancer, the traditional ruler of this eclipse, it is very empathetic. It is very nurturing. And I do think a lot of us will understand a lot better how we feel as well as how other people feel. I feel like we're almost given in like a little spotlight into people's hearts, and we can feel their emotions. We can tune into what they need. We can tune into what we need. And that will help us navigate these situations with gentleness and compassion, because maybe there is something difficult that we have to say or to do or to end, and it could affect other people in our lives. Scorpio is very much a sign related to attachment and relationships and intimacy and bonds. And so there may be some things that come up within your bonds with other people or relationships with other people that you may need to navigate with greater empathy and insight. And this eclipse can give that to you. All right, the last card before we jump into, actually, no, we have some advice cards, and then we'll get into what this eclipse is for all signs. We have She Who Forgives, remorse, guilt, and forgiveness. So some of us might be forgiving ourselves from the past. Some of us might be making some kind of changes into our lives that we feel guilty about, but ultimately serve us. And I think that recognizing how important forgiveness is during this cycle is going to help us a lot, especially because we started off with the first card around revenge, and then we end with forgiveness. I do think that ultimately revenge doesn't serve anybody, and that this eclipse is calling us to release, let go, and forgive for all parties involved. All right, so my advice cards are Courage, Devotion, and Source. So I think that many of us are being asked to step a little bit into almost like a feminine energy with this Ocean Source card. The ocean is very wild. It's very unpredictable, but it can also be very gentle and soft and nurturing. And I feel like that's kind of what's happening during this period of time. We have this wild energy of this eclipse where anything is possible, and yet it's emotional, it's soothing, it's transformational. And that is all this water energy during this eclipse with Mars in Cancer and this eclipse in Scorpio. So I think many of us are being asked to kind of ride the waves of our feelings, ride the waves of this feminine energy, not trying to control things, but really believing and trusting that Source can support you throughout this process, and that you don't actually know what's next, and you don't actually have control anyway, even if you wanted to. And I think that's also part of the reason why we have courage. This is, again, a Mars-ruled eclipse. Mars is about courage. Mars is about defeating our enemies. And sometimes those enemies are inside of us, or they're this ongoing cycle, like I've been talking about, that we're finally trying to stop. And so this Lioness Courage card is saying that we can do it. We can face our fears. We can face our enemies, and we can be victorious. The last advice card is Devotion, Mystic. So I think it's important for all of us at this time to ensure that we have a spiritual connection. Mars, again, the modern or the traditional ruler of this eclipse, is trining Neptune. And so we are very much in tune with divine support, divine love, angels, guidance, synchronicities, songs that come on the radio. And I feel like this Devotion card is telling us to make time to tune into our internal world and respect the messages coming through. Respect our soul, our guides, and actually carve out the time to connect to that side of ourselves. And I think it's also asking us, what are we devoted to? Because Scorpio, again, is a very fixed sign. It can be obsessive. It can be extremely focused. And if we're devoted and focused on the wrong thing or the wrong person or the wrong situation, this eclipse might try to shake us free from that and redirect our energy and ask ourselves, well, who do I want to be and what do I want to be devoted to? And I hope that many of you guys will choose that part of your devotion will be to yourself and your spiritual practice and your guides or the universe or God or whatever you believe, because that is going to help you the most. So that is what I'm seeing for the overall forecast of this eclipse. Let's go ahead and jump into what this will look like for all signs. All right, my Aries rising and sun. This eclipse in Scorpio is happening in your 8th house, and I definitely feel like for many of you guys, you are going to become aware of emotions that you may not have fully recognized, or you might become aware of secrets or things even inside of yourself or outside of yourself. But I think especially within relationships, or how you feel about something, or you might see like the true nature of something for the first time with clear eyes. And I say that especially because this eclipse is opposite. So this moon is opposite the sun and Uranus in Taurus. So it's something that is often revelatory. Is that the right word? Where we have a revelation about something in our life, and we have a breakthrough, an epiphany when Uranus is involved, especially with the sun. It brings about some element of clarity, of divine knowing, of insight that can flash into our minds and make us aware of things that we may have even buried inside of ourselves, that we may have ignored, that we may have not understood, or not addressed. So there's something around your emotions, your connection to people, maybe even around relationships or work or money. There's something about those areas of life that I feel like you haven't fully tuned into how you're feeling or dealt with it or understood it in some kind of way. And I say that because I have the moon and the King of Swords, which is very much about our emotional awareness of ourselves, especially this King of Swords. He's very clear. He knows what he wants. He knows what he thinks. He knows his boundaries. And I definitely feel like that has something that maybe hasn't been super clear for you about some area of your life. And this eclipse is going to awaken that within you. I pulled the Lovers and the Eight of Pentacles, which is why I was like, okay, I really feel like for some of you, it's going to be around how you're investing yourself into relationships, what level of commitment that you want to have with certain people in your life. This could look like your business relationships. This could look like your close friendships. This could look like an intimate partnership. You might have a revelation about how you truly feel about somebody and what energy you want to put towards that. This could also have to deal with wanting to do things that are actually more in line with your innate nature and gifts and talents. The Eight of Pentacles is how we invest our time and energy into something. And if it's not in alignment, you're going to be very aware of that now with this Lovers card. You're going to see very clearly that this thing isn't fulfilling you, that you need more. The 8th house is very much the house of our shadows. And so you may have a realization around some shadow aspect of the self that may have prevented you from truly processing or facing or understanding certain emotions within you. It's almost like some part of you protecting yourself from yourself. And I think at this eclipse, the curtain will be dropped. The shadow will be revealed. You will see everything behind the scenes, and you will know how to move forward with something because of that awareness. I also think with the sun and Uranus in the second house, it's a time of becoming really independent. And that's a little bit against the 8th house because the 8th house is a lot about our reliance on others and connection. And while that, of course, is relevant to this eclipse is a lot about letting something go in regards to that. And with the sun and Uranus in the second house, I think it's trying to help you become more self-reliant in some way, more independent in some way. And that could look like making more money. That could look like taking out less debt. That could look like not relying on other people financially. But there's something where I feel like you guys are meant to be stepping up in your autonomy and independence and do something on your own and for yourself. And you may have had certain beliefs or feelings or things that have kind of kept you in a cycle of relying on things or people outside of you that I think naturally as an Aries, you don't do that very much. And especially with Jupiter and Aries, you're being pushed and encouraged to develop even more autonomy and independence. But there's still probably some area of your life where you may have felt like stuck in a cycle with something or someone that wasn't providing you the money, the nutrients, the support that you needed. And now you're becoming very aware of that situation, how you feel about it truly, and you're turning away from it and becoming more independent, doing something on your own, breaking free from that so that you can support yourself. And I do think that your intuition is leading you to a highly abundant time with the High Priestess and the Empress. You are very much listening to that gut feeling, and it's taking you towards more financial prosperity and freedom through that independence. For many of you, again, it could be something emotional or work-wise. With the Knight of Pentacles, it's very much like something that you are showing up to every single day, something that you are showing up to and putting a lot of energy and effort into, that was taking time away from your life, that was taking focus, dedication, discipline, consistency, that you're putting it into someone or something that wasn't quite aligned with you. And I think at this eclipse, you're going to see that, and you're going to direct the energy elsewhere. And you're going to put it into yourself, which can, again, give you so much more abundance and prosperity, because you now know it needs to be going to you in your life in some way. We have Venus in Gemini in the 3rd house, sextiling Jupiter in the 1st. So I think the realizations, the conversations are going to help you really grow as a person. Talk it out with your friends. Make decisions from a clear head. And know that you are meant to be taking a chance on yourself, and again, becoming more and more autonomous. So we have the card, She Who Waits, Patience, Waiting, and Determination. This is really interesting because the Knight of Pentacles is very much a card in waiting, where we're like waiting for something in our life to happen. And I feel like you've been waiting for too long, and it's time to take the steps forward or take the initiative on something. I feel like you've been deciding something or giving something a lot of time. You've been really patient with something, and it's like, no, it's time to just let it go. It's time to stop trying to let this thing play out because it's not working, and more time isn't going to give that to you. Your advice card is Fluidity, Shapeshifter. So you are meant to be transitioning radically right now, growing radically right now. The way you are now, maybe even the way that you physically look now, is going to totally change over the next year. And it's important to be fluid. It's important to be adaptable and to not hold on to things as a form of your identity, or not hold on to things for security, but be very fluid through this cycle, because having Uranus and the Sun in your 2nd house, which is usually really stable, it's a house of our possessions, it's a house of our money, it's a house of a lot more consistency. Having Uranus here, which is volatile, is going to make your life feel like, oh my gosh, where am I going to land? Like, I thought that this was happening, and then this is happening, and it's like, it feels like life is, again, molding and changing. It hasn't landed yet. So it's trying to say, be patient with that, be calm with that, and be okay with the fact that your life is still unfolding on its own natural course. Be fluid, be adaptable, and kind of like respect where the tides take you, while also being willing to walk away from things that you know you've stayed in a little bit too long. So that's what this eclipse is going to bring you, Aries. Thank you so much for staying tuned. If you enjoyed this, please don't forget to like and comment down below and subscribe, and I hope you have a beautiful day. Bye. All right, my beautiful Taurus rising and sun, the Scorpio eclipse is happening in your 7th house, and that means that the Sun, Uranus, the North Node are opposite where this moon is in your 1st house. So this is obviously a really big eclipse for you guys, because it's happening in your sign and your axis of signs, Scorpio and Taurus. And it can bring a lot of benefits for you guys, especially because your sign is where the North Node is. So having the North Node in your sign is all about growing a lot and evolving a lot as a soul. And we are always bolstered in some kind of way. So I want that thing. And it's like the universe is like, okay, here you go. You just have a lot more support than ever before with these eclipses happening in your sign. And so many of you guys might notice that while changes feel a little bit volatile for those around you, that this is actually a time of immense growth for you, where you're feeling more confident, where you're feeling more financially stable, or where you're growing in some capacity of your life that's giving you this sense of grounding, which we'll come to this in a second. But I feel like there could be some changes within your relationships. This could be a relationship with somebody that you work with. This could be a partner, a friend, other people in your life could be having lots of changes, and you could be the solid one. You could be the grounded one that supports all of them. I kind of have the feeling that that's going to be the case for a lot of you. Some of you might be outgrowing relationships or having some necessary talks or discussions or boundaries set. Some of you guys might just have evolvements in relationships. This is an eclipse about endings, but that's really not the feeling that I get for you guys. With the North Node being in your first house, I feel like these endings are more so happening with people around you. And I feel like you guys are in a state of positive growth and new ideas. So if anything's ending, it feels almost like an ending of stagnancy, an ending of maybe feeling like things are really slow or they're not moving. I think things are going to be starting to pick up. And that, again, could come through your changes happening in relationships. So if there are anything that you feel like are necessary relationship changes, it's important to do that now, to instigate that now, because things are going to start picking up a lot more and a lot faster, especially as Jupiter moves into your sign later this month. So you guys are definitely getting a push from the universe of like, you're about to grow really, really big. You're about to have things take off and become busy. And you need to make sure that the people, the systems, the things in your life can support you through that transition, through that pickup of energy. So if there are certain relationships that you need to change or evolve to support you better, then talking to them about that. If there are certain things that certain people that you know can't come with you that might be dead weight, it might be time to end that. If other people are going through a lot in their life and they're super volatile, you might be this grounding support system that will help you also grow because you're giving back, but it will help them in a big way. But with the Queen of Wands and Queen of Pentacles as your two first cards, I really feel like you're embodying a state of confidence, of an abundance, of leadership, of supporting yourself and really being able to stand on your own 2 feet. Feeling creative also and very, very inspired, but also applying those things. I think that you guys are in a state of having lots of new ideas. Maybe you're having, with the Page of Swords, important conversations, or you're marketing in new ways, or you are going on trips. And there's a lot of like feeling of inspiration coming through that I think the summer is bringing you. It is your birthday month, so you're starting to come up on, on your birthday. And I think that many of you guys might be feeling really embodied and confident and bold and courageous. And again, Jupiter is about to move through your sign, which is really encouraging you guys to continue to act on these ideas and expand, but in a grounded, practical way with this Queen of Pentacles, in a way that is going to see the ideas to fruition and not just kind of pick them up and put them down. But you're a Taurus, so you already know how to do all that. One of the cards that I also pulled was She Who Creates, creativity, originality, and spontaneity. So if there is anything in your life preventing you from creating, this eclipse is helping you remove that energy. If this is some kind of creative block, if this is because you don't have time, because you need more support, because you need to change your foundation in some kind of way, I really see that shifting to make way for a lot of that spontaneity, originality, authenticity, creativity to percolate in your life, to feel like juicy and exciting. And it's a time with the star of growth, of hope, of faith, of optimism, of seeing the limitless potential. If you guys have been going through a stage, again, where things have felt maybe a little bit harder over these last few years, I'm really seeing that shifting now, shifting in your favor. And I think what's happening is going to, again, pick up so much energy. We have the Sun and Uranus in your first house. You are changing so much right now. You are going through so much that a lot is entering your life. A lot of new energy is starting to pump through your veins. A lot of ideas and inspiration is coming to you. And you have to be able to physically maintain that and ground that into reality. And that's why your advice card is this turtle grounding. You guys are being advised to connect with earth, connect with your bodies, have consistent practices that you can control amongst all of the change happening, amongst all of the growth that's about to take off. And it's a time where I feel like you guys are letting go of the past and seeing how much more financially abundant you can become, how much more confident and stable you can become. With Venus in your second house, sextiling Jupiter in the 12th, it's a time that you can truly trust your intuition about financial decisions, about how you want to move forward and plan your life. And you'll actually notice that those things will lead you to the right place. So your past efforts, I think, are going to pay off. The things that haven't been working are suddenly going to start working. I really see this as a very positive energy for you. And while this eclipse for many is about leaving something behind, for you, it's about leaving behind that old stagnant energy, and learning how to support this new growth happening in your life and maybe some of the people around you, because you're going to be so fruitful and abundant and full of energy or full of creativity that you're going to have extra to spare for maybe some of the people in your life that are going through other things. So very exciting time for you guys. I definitely think money is going to improve, especially with that Queen of Pentacles, and your confidence are going to improve immensely. And I hope that you guys enjoy your birthday. If you enjoyed this eclipse reading, don't forget to give me a thumbs up and comment down below and subscribe and share with your friends, and have a great day. Bye. All right, my beautiful Gemini risings and suns, the Scorpio eclipse is happening in your 6th house, which means that the sun and Uranus and Mercury are opposite this eclipse in the 12th house in the sign of Taurus. So I just pulled some of the best cards for you guys, and I'm really, really excited to share that with you. It's not necessarily something that I would be thinking of with an eclipse in the 6th house. Like the 6th and the 12th house axis is not a particularly helpful one. A 6th house is a house of illness, and the 12th house can be like mental illness, amongst many other things. But what I'm seeing for you guys happening is that Venus is in your 1st house, and it's making this beautiful sextile to Jupiter in Aries in your 11th. So you guys are very much being divinely supported during this eclipse and given the opportunity to have major growth, major wish fulfillment, major abundance. And because it's in the 6th house, I feel like it could change the way that you live your daily life. You may need to make some kind of adjustments in the ways that you pursue life, pursue health, pursue your work, in order to make room for this thing, or in order to align with whatever this wish is. But I feel like some wish for you is being granted. I pulled the She Who Wishes card, She Who Grants Wishes, so it's very literal. And then on top of that, I pulled the 9 and 10 of Cups, which, if you know anything about tarot, are wish fulfillment cards. The 10 of Cups is the happiest card in the whole deck, and the 9 of Cups is a wish being fulfilled. So there is very, very, very much something that you guys have wanted, I think, for a long time, that is finally coming back around for you. And I often see the 6th house operate in this way. It can be a very thankless house. It can be like that house where you are striving, you are pushing, you are helping, you are of service, and you don't always get the results of that. You don't always get the congratulations or the trophy or the money, and it can really feel, again, like a thankless job. And so there might have been something in your life that has felt that way. There might have been something in your life that has, for many years or months or some version of this cycle, have felt like you've put so much energy into it and not have gotten what you've wanted out of it. And because this eclipse is bringing about an ending to a cycle, and especially with Uranus and the sun involved, which can bring about really radical, overnight, sudden changes in your life, I feel that over the next 6 months, but you'll get a glimpse of it at this eclipse, you're going to start to see how things that you've put so much effort and energy into that haven't produced fruit or results are suddenly going to start giving you exactly what you had hoped for so many years to come. I pulled the 8 of Pentacles and the King of Swords, and this just shows me that you have, again, been working really, really hard at something and have done your best with this King of Swords to keep a very level head. around whatever the situation is. The King of Swords is very much in control of his own mind. And so there might have been, I just saw 333, so that might be relevant for some of you. There might have been something around the way that you have needed to adjust your perception of things. You are a Gemini. Your life is all about perception. It's all about making meaning out of things. That's a huge part of your purpose as a soul. And I think that you went through this experience of not getting that desired wish so that you could look at the situation differently, so that you could be in control of your mind while pursuing this thing or in process of this thing, so that it's not so focused on maybe an end result or satisfying a certain outcome. It's almost like you shifted your mindset to view the process as being the goal in some capacity, or being more honest with yourself about your intentions, or seeing the truth and from different angles in the situation. I feel like you went through this journey to discover a lot about yourself rather than it being about, again, that thing. But with the ending with the 9 of Cups, I feel like you're going to get what you desired. You're going to get what you wished for. But the true gift from this experience is actually that you are in control of your brain, and that you are honest and clear, or you see things differently. Like, that is actually the gift from this, even though that was also the thing that was caused by the hardship. I think that you're going to realize that once this thing comes, that having your brain work in a specific way for you is going to help you in the rest of your life, not just getting what you want in the moment that you want it. You know what I mean? So I think also some of you guys are being asked to shake free from our past, and especially our past identity. With Venus being in the first house, you are being blessed with something new supporting you in your life. Maybe a relationship, maybe money, maybe career aspects, maybe friendships, hobbies, interests, different looks can even happen to you, like changing your appearance. And sometimes when we have those things come into our life, we become a new person, and we have to release and let go who we thought we used to be, because sometimes holding on to that prevents us from fully embracing who we've become. It's kind of like when somebody is, let's say they grow up obese, for example, and then they lose a ton of weight as an adult, and they always kind of see themselves as that person who had a bunch of extra weight, and maybe they don't have confidence in themselves, or maybe they tolerate some things, some treatment from people that they don't deserve. And I think a lot about this eclipse is starting to adjust our perception and identity to fit the new things that are trying to come in that makes sense for us. And I think that's part of the reason why the Sun and Uranus are in the 12th, which is very much linked to our past. It's like, no, let's shake this energy free from your past so you're not clinging on to it anymore, and so that you can start to see and adjust your eyes to, oh, I look different, or I'm a different person, or this thing is actually different in my life. I can't just perceive it as the old thing anymore. Again, this eclipse is in the 6th house. The moon is in the 6th house. So there's a lot of emotional changes to the way that we interact with things in our day-to-day life as well that will support the creation of this new identity. So what's my new job? What's my new workout routine? What's my new way of dealing with my mental or physical health? How am I going to take care of everything in my life in a way that actually matches this new identity, or that aligns with the thing that I'm calling in and finally being fulfilled with? So it's like this really potent energy that I feel like you guys have to just be a lot more receptive to. And yes, this desk is kind of low. Let me move my chair down. There we go. Now the microphone is like very high. Okay. some other cards I pulled are Page of Wands, Two of Wands, and Ten of Cups. So I feel like there is something coming into your awareness now that you are making the plan to achieve. So I think that you're getting some kind of wish fulfilled around this eclipse. Even if that wish fulfillment is just that you are so much more in control of your mind and the way that you perceive reality. Although I do think something else is coming in. But I'm seeing something also long term or maybe in the future that you are planning for, whether this is like having a family or if you're planning to add something onto your business, something that is going to be really, really, really emotionally fulfilling for you. I think that you guys are getting a lot clearer on what that is for you and like what work you need to do or what steps you need to take again in your daily life to get you to that destination. Because again, this is an eclipse in the 6th house. What's my daily life? What's my responsibility? What's my routine? What do I have to take care of? And I feel like you guys are having like some wish come in and you're starting to realize, oh, okay, now I can move on to the next wish, or I can make it a bigger wish, or I can plan for that longer term thing. And you're starting to get those things into motion, at least emotionally, at least in terms of inspiration and ideas and kind of like journaling about them. I feel like you guys are seeing yourself in the future, having that thing. And you're asking yourself, what do I need to do today to have that maybe 3 years from now? And making actual lifestyle changes to support that. So very exciting energy. My advice card that I pulled was this Harmony card. So I think that this is really trying to say that sometimes, I believe it's the 12th house, if I'm not mistaken. It's like the house of hidden enemies. There may be some part of you that resists things or that creates conflict or that butts heads with people on this path. And there's something where I feel like if you guys can just focus your energy on making something harmonious and easy and not resisting things that like the past or other people or even yourself, that is going to make this whole process just flow. But the second that I feel like you start trying to control things or resist things from changing or evolving, I think that's when you'll find that it delays your blessings. And so this Harmony card is really trying to come in here and say, loosen up a little bit, let go of control, and enjoy the process of things just being how they are. Because that's life. Life is wild. Life is uncertain. And I think that that's ultimately going to bring you exactly to where you want to go without you having to figure it all out on your own. So that's what I'm seeing for you, Gemini. If this resonates, please let me know by liking, commenting down below. Don't forget to subscribe and share with your friends, and have a great day. Bye. All right, my beautiful Cancer, rising and sun, this Scorpio eclipse is happening in your 5th house, and it's opposite the sun and Uranus together in Taurus in your 11th house. So the 5th house, an eclipse in the 5th house is going to be a better time for you in general. I feel like the 5th house, while it does have a lot to do with our kind of joy and our pleasure and all the things that we do to bring those things in our life, and this includes hobbies and children and dating and creative businesses and all those things. It typically involves that. But this eclipse is about an ending of some sort, or a revelation, an awakening, a realization. And for you guys, I feel like what's ending is some type of emotional cycle. And this could have to do with 5th house matters. Again, things that used to bring you joy that maybe no longer brought you joy, or certain relationships that you entered into, or difficulties with children or friends. It's almost like there was something that is supposed to be really fun, really lighthearted, really easy, that you guys were disconnected from, or that had turned sour in some way. And I really feel like that is what is being shed at this eclipse. With the Ten of Swords and the Moon, you guys are leaving behind a lot of emotions that I feel like were stored within you, maybe resentment, anger, internal discord. It's like finally allowing yourself to become at peace with what's happened in your past. And your advice cards, I think, really speak to this. You have, for advice, memory, awakening, and forgiveness. So I think that with these cards together, it's almost like you're gaining clarity about why things in the past happened the way that they did, and releasing them, forgiving maybe other people, forgiving yourself. This could even be like you, for example, not feeling confident in some business or some hobby that you enjoy, and so you stop doing it. And I feel like you're letting that go. Like you're letting the stories go. You're letting maybe experiences in the past go. If something weird has happened in certain relationships, or again, just anything that's supposed to bring you joy and uplift you and support you in life. If there was something that went wrong, or even especially emotionally, like I feel like something emotionally went wrong, where maybe you didn't see eye to eye with somebody, or maybe you believed in something and then it didn't go well, and then you started to doubt yourself and check out emotionally. There's something that came and interrupted the process of something that's supposed to be just enjoyable and fun in your life. And so I see that that's what's ending. If there was a cycle of suffering around something that's supposed to be enjoyable, that is ending. And you are now stepping into a lot more emotional fulfillment with the King of Cups and the Six of Wands. I really feel like you guys are becoming more aware of how you can bring that joy back into your life, and what thoughts, beliefs, emotions were getting in the way of you enjoying that. I just saw 333, so that also could be relevant for you guys. The Six of Wands in particular is also about feeling like we're having some kind of success or visibility. So if you were feeling, if this is something to do with visibility, because the fifth house can be linked to performance and visibility, if this was linked to that for you, I feel like you guys are having a new emotional relationship with being visible, with being seen, with performing. And I think it's going to help you feel more confident and have more success. I just really feel like if you were shy, or if you were hating on yourself, or if you were not feeling like your creativity was good, or if you were choosing the wrong dates and it was really getting inside of your head of how lovable and enjoyable you are, or if you had a bad trip, or if you, I don't know, if something went wrong, and again, these things that are supposed to be fun, I really feel like it got inside of your head and your heart and affected you negatively. And now that's changing, and you're leaving that cycle in the past and starting a new one where you feel more engaged with whatever that thing was in your life. I also feel like a really key element here is that you guys are very in touch with what you are feeling, and also like your intuition and your spiritual side. This eclipse has Venus in the 12th house for you, and it's sextiling Jupiter in the 10th. Venus in the 12th gives us the gift of reconnecting with our self-love. It gives us a gift of gaining a lot out of that time alone, actually, and maybe even pouring ourselves into the things that we've always wanted to create in our life. With the Four of Swords, I really feel like it's encouraging you guys to set that time alone and trust the intuition that comes through. Trust the divine guidance that comes through with this High Priestess. I feel like you guys are not just bulldozing your emotions before or being mean to yourself. I almost feel like you're being gentle. You're slowing down. You're softening. You're listening to yourself. And that is actually what is going to instigate this new emotional beginning in connection to whatever it is that used to bring you joy. With the Sun and Mercury and Uranus in the 11th house, I definitely feel like the area of relationships is undergoing some changes. And I think that's also part of what this whole message is about. It's not just about your connection with your creativity, but it's also about how you feel like you belong in society, or how you view yourself in society or with a group of friends. And There may be improvements in relationships as a result of you becoming more emotionally connected to yourself and re-engaging with the things that bring you joy, or letting go of the past if you've had harmful dynamics in relationships. And I feel like it's resetting your area of friendships or community or belonging. With the Three of Pentacles, you might even have a chance to work specifically with other people or create new relationships that you can work on that are much more supportive of what it is that you want to do in your career. With Venus in the 12th, sextiling Jupiter in the 10th, career relationships can very much be founded during this period of time. So just recognize that it's not just about doing everything on your own, which is often with Jupiter and Aries, the feeling that we get, but it's also very much for you guys around how other people can be a part of that, how other people can support you. And people are sometimes a really great mirror for us as well. If you've had friendships where you felt stuck, or if you've had certain expectations on yourself, or you put societal burdens and expectations on yourself, I really feel like you're freeing yourself from that and you're accepting more of what you want as it is. So let's say, for example, you've always wanted to pursue music, but you felt like you couldn't because it's hard and not a lot of people make it into music. And so you just told yourself that you can't, you have to go to traditional 9 to 5, and you just kind of go in that direction. This is you freeing yourself from those societal expectations. With Uranus in the 11th house, it's like, it's not what I do to belong. It's not what I do that everyone tells me to do. It's what I feel in my heart I really need for myself. So I think many of you guys are freeing yourself from the past, from your past emotions, from maybe some difficult, painful experiences. Some of you guys are freeing yourselves from these like unspoken expectations from people or from the world. And I think you're living a lot more in alignment. I pulled the freedom and the transformation card. So you guys are truly lightening your load and you're becoming like this horse that's running free. So if there was a lot of elements of your relationships that held you back, or elements of your emotions that made you feel like you couldn't do something or you weren't good enough, I really feel like those things are lifting off of you now and you're uninhibited. In terms of advice, we have the memory, awakening, and forgiveness card. So again, this is letting people off the hook, letting yourself off the hook, just letting it all go. Like, why do I need that anymore? Venus in the 12th, it's like, let it all go. You're going to benefit from letting it all go. And you're going to realize that there's so many positive things ahead. And that the thing that was stopping you is actually more so from the past rather than the thing that's in the present. So very much a time to surrender for you guys to what it is that you really want. And release the expectations and the pressure and allow yourself to work with other people to support these goals and these dreams, because they very much are possible for you right now. So that's what I'm seeing for you, Cancer. I hope that resonates. If it does, please like and comment down below. Don't forget to subscribe and share with your friends, and have a great day. Bye. All right, up next we have Leo rising and sun. So this Scorpio eclipse is happening in your 4th house. And wow, you guys are going to be feeling this a lot more strongly than other people, because this eclipse is in your 4th, 10th house axis. And some of you guys may have had some big endings or changes in regards to your home, but this could also come through the area of career as well, because that's where the sun and Uranus are. There's a lot of unpredictability in terms of your career or your long-term goals. I feel like things are really up in the air, or they're shifting, or you are feeling unsettled or unhappy with a specific current dynamic in your career or your goals or where you're headed. And because of that, I feel like new energy is coming through on the back of an ending. This eclipse is trying to bring about some kind of ending. And I think for many of you guys, you'll have an emotional revelation around what it is that you really want, around what it is that you really need. That's very much a 4th house energy, how we take care of ourselves and our emotional center. And our career is part of that. Our career is where we spend so much time. Our home is part of that. It's also where we spend the rest of our time. So these two areas of your life are kind of up for grabs in transition, and it's going to be super important to tune in with how you feel to know how to navigate this transition in the best possible, most authentic possible way. I pulled the Sun card and the Page of Wands. So the Sun to me is bringing about much more optimism. So I think whatever is ending in your life, either the change of career or the change of location or the change of emotions or something going on with your home or your family, it's going to bring a lot more hope and faith and optimism, because I think something about that was getting you down or was just leading to a dead end. Like the road did not have an outlet. You were not going to be able to move past that point. And I think there's something that this is something that your soul was realizing. And now that there is an ending in sight of that and the potential for many new paths unraveling, I feel like your soul is very excited about what's to come. And it's revving up energy and vitality and excitement about, ooh, I could do this. Ooh, I could do that. And with the Page of Wands and Three of Wands, I feel like you're going on a journey to explore maybe where you want to live, what job you want to have next, what kind of career path, what's your next goal in life. I really feel like you guys are adjusting, you're exploring, you're curious, you're full of ideas. And this is a really beautiful phase to be entering into. And again, it's because you decided to walk away from something that's ultimately allowing this potential to happen. There may be something shocking or surprising that happens during this period of time. You might realize something, someone might share something with you, you might gain some insight about something randomly, but it's going to shake up the energy so that you're knowing all the cards on the table and you know how to move forward, or the pieces kind of fit into place and they turn things in a different direction. It's almost like there was missing ideas or information or whatever it is. There's something missing, and now it's like it's revealing itself. And it might, again, be this surprise or this discovery of something that comes out of nowhere. And sometimes that could be a little bit jarring because, again, this is an eclipse with Uranus, which is like, oh my gosh, I did not expect that. Or this really expedited a lot faster than I thought it would. And so this very much has that energy, especially with the Knight of Swords. I definitely feel like things are going to move very, very, very quickly. Like someone says something to you or you decide something or something happens and it's like, boom, everything just takes off running very fast. And I think that's also part of the surprise element too, is that it's happening so much faster than maybe you anticipated. I feel like you guys have been yearning for something, desiring something, to move towards something, but there may have felt like there's been a blockage. This could have to do with your home, your emotions, your family, your career, relationships. This could be many different areas of life, but it feels like there was a blockage. And now it's clearing that energy up so you can pursue something wholeheartedly. If there is something that you desire that can't be fulfilled, I think that this eclipse will be about mourning that emotionally as well, because not everyone is going to have the perfect fairy tale storyline. But I really feel like this eclipse is bringing in a lot of positive things for all of us. So even if there's something that doesn't quite work out the way that you wanted it to, I think that something better is going to come into its place, especially with the Queen of Wands and Queen of Swords. You're gaining so much wisdom from whatever experience has happened or from whatever changes take place. And that experience makes you more confident, makes you more proud, makes you more creative, because you now know how to navigate situations like this in the future. So even if something feels like it's a disappointment, and you don't quite get what you were longing for, there's something else that will take its place ultimately. And it's just like a temporary detour, but really big energy for you guys. And I definitely think you're going to be expecting some changes in where you're headed to in life and maybe your home, if that hasn't already changed. You also have Venus in Gemini in your 11th house, sextiling Jupiter and Aries in your 9th. So ultimately, again, I feel like even if what you wanted originally doesn't manifest, you are having a new vision that will encourage you to expand your boundaries in new directions, explore new horizons of yourself. And that is going to feel way more exciting, energy generating. And it's almost going to just completely override that past experience because you have so much lightness to look forward to. And your relationships could start to grow. Maybe your friendships start to grow. Your community starts to grow. Maybe you have more time. Maybe you have different goals that bring you around different people. But it feels like a very stimulating period of time for you guys. For your advice cards, we have the Beauty and the Presence card. So I definitely feel like you guys are being encouraged to stay really present in the present moment, not look too far ahead. It feels, again, like a time of exploring, of curiosity, of dabbling, moving quickly towards things, but it doesn't feel like you need to have a plan. It doesn't feel like you need to get it all figured out super fast. And the more you stay present with where you are currently at and with what you're currently exploring, the better you will be able to move through this period of time. If you try to have like a very fixed idea of what's going to happen in the future, I think it's going to make things way harder for you because it's Uranus involved in this. Very volatile, changeable energy. And we can't fit it into a box. We can't have these set expectations because it will lead us astray or it will feel heavy because it's not going to be like that. It's not going to manifest that way. We have the Beauty card. So I think this is trying to help you see the beauty in a difficult situation or in leaving something behind. It's almost like you guys are being encouraged to see how the flowers are blooming, that the grass is greener, that the sun is shining if you're in the States like I am, because it's turning into spring. But anyway, you can still look for the beauty in the situation regardless, or in your life regardless. So it's like telling you to focus on that, move towards that, create more of that, and you're going to find what you're looking for. I think clear communication is necessary with the Queen of Swords, being super clear about what you want and what you need, and standing tall in your confidence and in your pride in order to receive that. So accepting nothing less. And even if you don't know what you want yet, maybe what you want is changing, I think having certain standards and expectations is absolutely necessary for whatever that next beautiful thing is to come into your life and align with your strong, potent, and powerful energy. So that is what I'm seeing for you, my beautiful Leos. If that resonates, please let me know by liking and commenting down below. Don't forget to subscribe and share with your friends, and have a beautiful day. Bye. All right, up next we have Virgo. So this eclipse in Scorpio is happening in your third house. And I really pulled some interesting cards for you guys. And I think there's a very, very distinct message coming through that may or may not relate to everyone here. So if it doesn't relate, just take a general overview, which I'm going to give you now. And then the message might be for someone in particular. But an eclipse in the third house generally is going to bring about important conversations, realizations, and shifts in our kind of everyday routine. And what it can do is bring about a level of awakening or realization or clarity to a situation. And I definitely think that many of us will have breakthroughs in the way that we perceive something. And if we've been going through a cycle again and again with the way that we talk, the way that we think, the way that we address people, that is going to be broken at this point in time. With the Sun and Uranus and Mercury all in Taurus, all together in the 9th house opposite this moon, we are bringing our vision and our sight to the bigger picture of things, the purpose of all of this, why these things are happening, why we are meant to shift the way that we talk, or to have an important conversation that you've been needing to have, or have some kind of breakthrough or realization. Why is that all happening? How does that fit into your life picture? Where is that leading you? And most importantly, how is that helping you grow? With Uranus and the Sun here, there is some kind of potential that you have yet to reach. And it's, again, because there is a perception that doesn't fit with this new potential. There's a way of acting, thinking, behaving that just doesn't align For a lot of us, it can be around relationships because the third house is very much how we interact with others, how we communicate, how we share ideas. So maybe there's something about how we express ourselves or how we make meaning out around a situation that is meant to undergo a massive shift so that we can continue to grow. Because again, I just really feel like many of us are just feeling like we're missing the mark in some way, or we're not growing in some way because of these old confines of our mind. And as a Mercury ruled sign, your mind is everything. So that's super important for you guys. I'll continue on with that general message in a minute, and I wanted to get into the specific one first. So again, don't be discouraged if this doesn't seem like it resonates. Don't take it if it doesn't. It's fine. So I start off with the Wheel of Fortune card and the Ace of Swords, and it's very much to me saying that there is some kind of fated event that's happening that was always meant to happen that you cannot stop. And it's a conversation, a realization, an idea, a clarity that breaks through your head or in between two people. This visibility cannot be unseen, and I definitely think it is either leading to or it's related to something that is emotionally distressing. It could indicate a breakup for some people, an important conversation that makes you realize things about your own emotional nature that you've been stuck in. With the Seven of Swords, for some of you, this could be the realization that somebody was lying to you, or that you were lying to yourself about a situation. There is something that was hidden from yourself or from others that is coming to light in this really faded way. There was something that was ignored, shoved under the rug, that again is just becoming just so obvious in our lives that we can't avoid it. And a Scorpio eclipse is a highly emotional eclipse. It's a full moon. It's drawing everything that was hidden to the surface to be revealed. And it could be heartbreaking what you discover. It could emotionally disrupt you. Or it could be things that have hurt you in the past that you're trying to cleanse and to clear and to get rid of now. So for some of you, it's happening at the eclipse. For some of you, it's related to past things that have already happened. Regardless, I feel like it's really going to start a new emotional beginning for you with this Page of Cups. It's helping you almost hit reset on something in your life. So if you've been really devoted to one way of being, it's like once you realize something about yourself or about another person or about a situation, you will realize how you need to change to emotionally adapt to this new information and reset yourself in relationship with that thing or that person. Clean the slate, fresh emotional slate. Tune into your intuition. Listen to that heart call and what it has to say to you at this time. Especially as this information or this clarity is revealed to you, this heart call is going to point you in one specific direction or another around how to navigate this. I truly do feel like you're ending some kind of long-standing cycle that has to do with the way that you perceive the world or yourself. And this is something that you've been probably wanting for a long time, but it may come about in an uncomfortable way. And with the secrets confessions, there's something that you guys, I think, are hearing or finding out about or telling somebody that is breaking down your heart and your emotions. It's like, I definitely feel like it's a very emotional piece of information that you or someone else is finding out, that you're communicating or someone else is hearing, or you're hearing. But again, it was hidden, it was secret, and it's like it's coming out to light. The full situation, the full scenario, the full truth is coming out to light, and many emotions are going to be high from this, and maybe some relationships might break down because of this. And with the Judgment card, this is something that is going to lead to a personal awakening. this is something that's like, once it's done, it can't be undone. Once it's realized, once the clarity is gained, it can't be ungained. And I feel like you guys are having a massive evolution of your consciousness because you are finally ending some long-standing cycle in your psyche. So it feels like a lot of energy is coming up with this one for you guys. It's kind of insane. For my advice cards, we have the solitude and healing. So again, I feel like some of you guys might be separating from somebody or having some kind of distance in a relationship or needing to take time alone to figure out how you feel and to heal from certain things that have gone wrong, or if there have been secrets or things that come to the surface that hurt you. It's like really taking the time to heal from that. And this doesn't have to be just like in a romantic relationship. This could be any kind of situation. It's like you're finally seeing the full clarity of something about yourself, about another person, about a dynamic, about a situation. And it's like, it's hurtful in some way. And I think you're going to have to heal from that. But I think that that the gift that this is giving you is so much of an awakening to yourself that it's almost like it's worth the pain. You also have Venus in your 10th house, sextiling Jupiter in the 8th. So I feel like whatever this does for you emotionally, it's also going to push you forward in terms of your goals and your career. The Jupiter in the 8th, it's like the more that you tackle your emotions and these shadows and your fears head on and you do the healing, the more that you'll actually see that your career and your relationships with authority figures or people that can help you within your career start to become more and more enhanced. So it's giving you some kind of wisdom that was really necessary for your personal soul growth. So I do want to pull one other set of cards because this has felt like the heaviest message out of everybody so far. And I'm a Virgo rising. So I did want to pull some cards around what you are gaining from this experience and what you are losing. So let's start off with like, what's the purpose of this? What are you gaining from this? The Tower. Oh my God. That's what you're gaining? Okay, I guess that's more of the purpose. What are you gaining from the Tower crumbling? And I'll go into what that even means in a second. What are you gaining from this? We have the 10 of Pentacles. Wow, this is so funny. This is like exactly what I was thinking. And then what are you losing? Oh my God. Ugh, way too many cards at once. Just one card. What are Virgos losing? Ugh. Still so many cards. Six of Pentacles, the Lovers, Six of Wands, Ace of Wands. Some of you might be losing some kind of reciprocal relationship. Ace of Wands, Six of Wands, maybe some confidence, maybe losing face, losing support from the public or from people. I don't want to go too much into that because that's too depressing. But the purpose of this is a Tower. We're really like shooting down something foundational in our life. This is really only going to affect you to this degree if it's aspecting a personal planet. For me, it's making a hard aspect to Mars. So I'm not really, I think it's probably a message for me. I'm not really looking forward to it. But the Tower is definitely something that you were building up in your life that felt like a support system for you, that felt important to you, that you were basing some of your identity or your emotions in life onto, and it's coming down because it wasn't sustainable in the future. But what you're getting instead is a 10 of Pentacles, which is something that is completely long-lasting. Financial success, career success. It's informing the rest of your life. So this is like one of the best cards. This in the 10 of Cups is one of the best cards in the whole tarot deck. So you're having this loss to create some of the best things that you'll ever have in your life. So remember that when you're in this process of healing, that this is giving you a gift, but it may initially feel like it's not a gift, just to let you guys know. But everything is going to be okay. Take some time alone, heal your heart, connect to spirit, and everything is going to be just fine. So I hope that this doesn't scare you guys, but this is a really intense eclipse, and I was a little bit concerned that every message was so positive because I know these energies can be extremely volatile, and not everything is always so positive. So that is what I'm seeing for you, Virgo. Yes, that's what I'm seeing for you. I think, yeah, I'm gonna stop there. I want to make it more positive, but with this Tower card, there's something ending that's really significant to you, especially around your perception, and it's going to give you stability in your future, especially financially and career-wise. So that's what I'm seeing for you. If this resonates, please let me know by liking, commenting down below. Don't forget to subscribe and share with your friends if it resonates, and have a great day. Bye. All right, my beautiful Libras, the Scorpio eclipse is happening in your second house on May 5th. And this was a big eclipse because many of us are going to be going through some type of radical change or endings if it is aspecting a planet in your chart. For you, this could bring about some type of change or endings to your financial life, or to something that you own, or something that you hold in your life as very stable or consistent. It could also change your self-image or self-view, especially because this is an eclipse that's happening on a full moon, a lunar eclipse. And that means that the sun is opposite the moon, and that is in the 8th house for you. It's also conjunct Uranus. So eclipses are super unstable. The fact that Sun and Uranus are together makes it even more unstable. And this is bringing about a lot of old residue from your past, because the 8th house I always see linked to something in our childhood, always something in our past. And there's often some type of fear around that as well, or pain or difficult emotion. The 8th house is a pretty uncomfortable house to have the sun moving through in terms of self-reflection, self-realizations. It can be painful, but also extremely liberating, because once we see something in ourselves that we've been holding on to from our past, it allows us to then break that patterning. And I see that with the 6 of Cups, that there's something around your confidence, your worthiness, or your money, or the way that you stand on your own 2 feet, or see how much you have to offer the world. There's something around that you guys have been holding on to some kind of storyline around. And I feel like you've been doing a lot of hard work to build up your money. With the 7 of Pentacles, King of Pentacles, you guys have been maybe having an increase in income, or more work, or feeling like you're learning something that can make you money, or establishing skills. But yet we still have the 5 of Pentacles. It's almost like even though you were doing all this work, there's still some feeling of not having enough, not being enough, not doing enough. There's something around lack. And I really feel like that is changing for you guys. This eclipse is eradicating that gaping hole of insufficiency. Like, I can never fill this up enough. And I think that you're entering into a new way of thinking about things with the Page of Swords. You're having new ideas come to you, new ways, again, of perceiving something, communication, basically shifts that are happening in your mind that are allowing you to see your circumstances through a different lens. And that is going to help you feel a lot more confident, a lot more worthy. And one of the cards that I pulled was stillness, purity, and quiet. So I do feel like there's something about this eclipse that really just wants you to have some time alone to connect with yourself. This purity card, I feel like there's something so pure about your desire to help others or to give that I feel like hasn't felt like it's totally been rewarded. Or let me pull a clarifier. The High Priestess. Yeah. I feel like you know intuitively that your life is really evolving into a new chapter and you're meant to be growing in your power and confidence and finances. And I feel like, again, there's something so pure about what you have to offer others, what you're trying to do for the world that deserves that back. And I think that you really might need some time alone in order to tap into your intuition, because there may be something that you haven't pursued or some belief that you have, or there's something like getting in the way of you feeling abundant. Because I do feel like you're working, things are picking up at work, or maybe you are going to school and things are becoming solid in your life. Like I see the outside manifestation is starting to form, but I think there's still unknown factors that are needing to develop. And I feel like there's still a higher potential that you're meant to reach. And I know that you guys feel it somewhere deep inside, but there's some kind of lack element that is preventing you from fully exploring it. And so this intuition, I think, is coming in here, this quiet time alone and this wisdom is coming in here to teach you about what it is that you're meant to pursue, or to feel inside of yourself, to embody, to believe, in order to actually feel a lot more abundant and a lot more worthy and a lot more capable and a lot more independent. Because I feel like you guys have those elements, but there's a greater capacity and there's something limiting you that you're becoming aware of now. With Venus and Gemini in the 9th house, sextiling Jupiter in the 7th, I definitely feel like you are here to grow in your beliefs. And I think that people around you are key components of this. Maybe your relationships are going to be like, but what if you did this? Or they encourage you, or they tell you like you're capable of more. There's something about other people supporting you, or even other people being an example, emulating what you think, what you know you can achieve, that allows you to reach for more. But this is not about reaching for more as much as about clearing up emotions and beliefs and things from the past that are acting as the limitations for why you think you can't have more, or why you feel like what you're doing isn't enough to get more, if that makes sense. So it's like, oh no, I have to be this whole other person if I want to have that result. It's like, no, you're already doing all of it. Maybe you can just ask for that raise. Maybe you can just ask for more money. Or maybe there's something else that you aren't sure that you're ready for. And it's like, no, you are ready for it, but there's a belief standing in your way that's making you feel like you're not, or making you not even try. We also have this River Surrender card. This is your advice. I really feel like this is trying to tell you that your life is leading you to this destined point. And it's telling you to just allow it to lead you there. Remove any of the things that could be getting in the way from the flow of things just being allowed. You see this person is just going down the river with these fish and they're just going to their destination. It's going to happen really naturally. But what if there's this big impasse and that's a belief that you can't have it or something like that, or you're not doing enough or whatever it is, you're not ready. And then it's like you bump up and you just land and you're sitting up there against that rock with tons of rushing water on you, pushing you. And it's like, let's just remove that during this eclipse. Because that pressure of the water, that's not going to go away because you know you're meant for more. So removing that block will allow you to just kind of go with the flow of life and embody a lot of this feminine energy and support that you're receiving in your relationships to get you to that place. So it feels like, honestly, you're the only thing standing in your way. That's what it feels like from this reading, which is nice because a lot of other people are experiencing like real things that are truly messed up, or really blocking them. But for you, it's like there's something about your past or your emotions that's blocking you rather than a real tangible experience. So I'd love to hear if that resonates with you guys. And if it does, please comment down below about how that correlates to your life if you feel comfortable. I would love a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe and share with your friends, and have a great day. Bye. All right, Scorpios, this eclipse is happening in Scorpio in your first house. Really big deal for you guys. I definitely feel like there's a lot of energy coming in around this for you, and it could feel a little bit disruptive. So just bear with me, because ultimately this is leading to amazing things, but it might initially feel overwhelming. A Scorpio eclipse can generate a lot of emotions, and if you feel like you're going through something right now at the time of this eclipse, have lots of patience with yourself and with others. The moon is in your first, so this is going to affect your identity level, basically where you see your life going and who you see yourself to be. And it's a full moon, which means that there is some kind of revelation, realization, clarity, or culmination of an experience. And the sun is opposite the moon, that's a full moon, conjunct Uranus in Taurus in your 7th house. This brings a lot of volatile energy into your relationship sector. This could come in the form of people in your life going through really radical change, but it could also signify that you are changing your relationships. That people in your life, or your dynamics, or you in relationship with them, is having to make a different choice to get out of a pattern that you might have felt stuck in. Scorpios, this year, the South Node has been in your sign, which is indicating a need to leave elements of yourself in the past that you've unnecessarily attached yourself to for comfort, but for stagnation as well. And you're being pushed outside of that to become a different person by purging, releasing, letting go. And this eclipse is the epitome of that energy that we've had throughout this year. Many of you have had really life-altering changes. Some of you have lost jobs. Some of you have moved. Some of you have maybe started or stopped relationships, and you've really discovered your own patterns along the way. But there may be a pattern that has felt sticky, that has not resolved itself, especially one that has caused you a lot of anxiety and confusion about what to do, about a decision to make, or how to move forward. And this eclipse might bring some faded elements that are outside of your control, some changeability that is surprising or sudden with that Uranus on the sun, that forces your hand to finally make a decision. While eclipses take 6 months to fully unravel, I do think that the energy of this will appear immediately in some capacity, almost like a crisis. With the 9 of Swords and the 2 of Swords, I really feel like this has been building for a while in your mind, in your psyche. What should I do? Where should I go? Staying up at night. Should I do this? Should I do that? I don't know. Making a move and then pulling it back. Going this direction, then that direction. Feeling extremely uncertain about maybe a choice you've already made, or about a choice that you need to make. This could have been years coming, actually. This could have been something that has been building for years. And I feel like what you need to hear, part of this, is that you need to be gentle and empathetic with yourself, because life is not always easy. Scorpios, you are meant to go through ups and downs. You are meant to transform as a person, but you're also equally fearing the thing that you desire. That's the contradiction inside of a Scorpio. So while you crave to transform on a soul level, you're also fearful of letting things go, especially things that have given you a sense of security. And with the 9 of Pentacles, I feel like this is exactly what you're uncertain about. There's something that has made you feel independent, strong, that has made you feel like, okay, if I do this, I can stand on my own 2 feet, or if I move in this direction, I can have money. There's something about this decision that's like, it involves that. That's an implication. Let me pull a clarifier, because that's the first card. We have the 9 of Pentacles and 9 of Swords, 2 of Swords. So it's something about your sense of safety and independence, and maybe financial decisions as well, that's being called on into question and has been for maybe a long time now. Any clarifiers around the Nine of Pentacles? Way too many. Forget about it. We're just going to leave that as it is. When the universe gives me like 20 cards, I'm like, you know what? You don't want me to further explore that. Okay. So that's what's been giving you anxiety. And now it's time for you guys to make a change in relationships that has been overdue, or a change in your dynamic with a contract or something that you've agreed upon or something that you've committed to in the past. Or maybe you need to ask somebody else to make a change in their life, or maybe they are just changing in their life and it's affecting your sense of stability. Regardless, I feel like there's some level of choice here and autonomy because of the Two of Swords. Like you had the choice to decide to do or not to do something. And it's going to affect you again on a very personal identity level because this eclipse is in your first house, and it involves shedding some version of yourself that could have been or that was. It's like I saw that whole timeline play out, and it's deciding not to go in that direction and instead to commit to another one. And I really feel like once you do that, if you've been in this stagnancy or this wavering of like, should I not, staying up at night, worrying about it, it's like it's really delayed you in life. And the nodes are about to move out of your sign. So this is your last chance to make a fucking decision, to move forward. It's not your last chance, but it's your last chance in terms of the universe saying, let's go. Let's let it go. The thing that you don't want, let's let it go. And having like a lot of universal support and push in that direction. It's your last chance with all of that combined. You're never going to lose out of chances. You know, I don't believe in that. I don't believe in putting that pressure, but there is a fate happening here of making a move. And when you do, you have this Eight of Wands. Things change really fast and really quickly. And then all of a sudden, your world is different. All of a sudden, you have new relationships, new things to celebrate, new things to look forward to, because you've decided to change this one thing that was really, or you've decided maybe not even to change it, but to move in a specific direction. Like which path? You finally decided one, and it leads you to this really beautiful outcome with the Three of Cups that I think is a lot to celebrate. But it might be emotional as well. It might be difficult. I mean, that's not to say it won't be, but what's on the other side of it with that Three of Cups, it's a card of celebration. It's something that you're gaining. That's something positive. It's reinforcement. It's new relationships, social support, feeling like you won. So whatever it is that you're trying to decide on, you know what's right in your heart. And once you commit to that, things will move super fast into the right direction that you want it to go. I really do feel like if you can stop to listen to yourself with the Stillness card, you will have the answers you are looking for. It's always been there. It's just, were you ready or not? We also have the Enlightenment card and the Metamorphosis card. You guys are going through a massive awakening about yourself, about your needs, about your desires, about your life direction. And that awakening is helping you move entirely in a new direction. And you can trust your intuition. You can trust the signs, the synchronicities. And you can also trust Source. This is your advice card. You can trust that Source will have your back, that it will mother you, it will parent you, it will help you transition in this period of time, and that you were always meant to do this. You're always meant to be choosing something right now. And you are supported in that choice. You are taken care of. You can trust that Source has your back and that you will be nourished and given what you need. We also have Venus in your 8th house and Gemini sextiling Jupiter in the 6th. So you are going through a process of, I think, healing mentally in many ways. This could also even affect you physically. You could also start to heal physically because you're not so weighed down with this anxiety, with this Nine of Swords. I really feel like you guys have been anxious about something for a while. Like, I truly do feel like this is a pattern that's been going on for a while. I don't think that this is an overnight thing. Even this month, I feel like this is something that's like deep, existential, years long in the making, or at least many months. And what happens when you finally release like some kind of emotional burden? You are 10 million pounds lighter, and your health and your mental well-being are very positively affected. So I kind of want to pull another card around what you maybe need to hear for advice in terms of making this decision. I'm only pulling cards in the groups that are having challenges, which so far has been Virgo and Scorpio. 9 of Wands. So your advice here is that you have been withstanding something for too long. The 9 of Wands is very resilient, which is great. It's made you a really resilient person. It's made you really find your own inner resources of power, which is important for Scorpio. And I just saw 1111. So it's made you hyper independent, autonomous, strong within yourself to be able to continue on despite the anxiety, despite not knowing, and to maintain this. But it's not sustainable. The 9 of Wands is not sustainable. It's very draining, emotionally, physically, mentally. It takes up all your reservoirs. It kills your spirit over many years. And it's time to release whatever this is. Some pattern in relationships, making a decision, your anxiety. It's time to release that. Move in a direction that is going to build your energy up. Any other advice? Any other advice? Ugh, so many cards. 6 of Swords, the Hanged Man, the Empress, Death, and the Chariot. I mean, the message is just the same again and again. You will be supported. The change is massive. The transformation is massive. You're going through a transition. You're changing your perspective. And your abundance is on the other side. Things are going to move faster. I mean, it's the same message. Nothing is new. So let's move on. If that resonates, Scorpio, this is your message. If that resonates, please let me know down in the comments below and share with your friends. I love to read your comments, especially around something so big like this, like an eclipse. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and have a great day. Bye. All right, Sagittarius, Sun, and Rising. The Scorpio eclipse is happening in your 12th house, and the moon is opposite the sun in the 6th, which is conjunct Uranus in the sign of Taurus. So you guys may have some type of ending happening in your life right now. It could be related to career, or it could have been something from the past that has been lingering in your present in some kind of capacity. An eclipse in the 12th house can feel very emotionally overwhelming and daunting because it can, again, bring up our past. It can bring up our fears. It can bring up this feeling of being out of control. And Scorpio wants to be in emotional control. It wants to feel like it's safe and has its shit together. And when life gets really chaotic like this, on one hand, Scorpio on a soul level craves some type of chaos. On the other hand, it's also very scared of it. And so this could be almost triggering to you on like a survival level or an instinctual level, which could affect your mental and emotional well-being. I feel like there is something that's ending. I pulled the 10 of Swords, King of Wands, and the Moon. I feel like there was something that's ending that was insidiously affecting your confidence. With the Moon and the King of Wands together, it's almost like there was something that you couldn't quite see, or there was something about your past or your emotions, something hidden that was getting to you emotionally that was throwing off your ability to feel really strong and confident and powerful. And that is what's finally coming to an end. If there's some way that you felt like you are not powerful, you are not good enough, you are not creative enough, you don't shine brightly enough, or you're afraid to shine, there's something about that that's ending. I think some of you guys are tapping into more of your potential right now with this launch, actualize, and self-care, or potential card. If some of you guys have businesses and you launch something around this time, you might notice that it doesn't take off in the way that you would hope, or that something happens with that, or in the past a launch didn't work out for you or something. Or maybe this isn't just businesses. Maybe all of you guys have had something that you've tried, that you've wanted to grow, that hasn't really grown. But I actually feel like it's linked to this lack of confidence. Like that launch failed because you weren't confident enough, or that relationship didn't go well because you actually weren't confident enough. And there was something hidden in your psyche, in your subconscious, that actually made you self-sabotage because of that lack of confidence. And that self-sabotage could simply look like you not believing in yourself, or you not trying your hardest, or you saying the wrong things to that person that pushed them away, or whatever it is. But it's almost like there's something in the past that I feel like you subconsciously fucked up on purpose because of that lack of confidence, without even realizing all that was happening. That might not be applying to everyone, but that's definitely a message for somebody out there. And I feel like now you're stepping into what your potential actually is, because you're starting to see, okay, wait, that thing, that area of my life is messing with me. That's actually making me feel really bad. Like, I need to address this. I need to face this. I need to be present with this. And doing that allows you to free up your potential, because it was immediately being blocked. But now you're like aware and clear about what that was, so that you can stop it, free yourself to go after what it is that you want and actually achieve it, or actually have it. And I think it's going to bring you a lot of peace. I don't think you have that peace right now, but it's leading to that peace. During this eclipse, you have Venus in the 7th house sextiling Jupiter in the 5th. So there's something around relationships that have a lot of potential to grow and flourish. And your relationships and the people in your life that you love, or that support you, can help you shine your light, can help you become more aware of how amazing you are, how confident you should be, or how you should be more visible. They're going to bring that out of you. You might notice that your social life improves, that more people come into your life, and that's something that continues to grow and flourish. With the Sun and Uranus in the 6th house, again, I think some of you guys could have some kind of change to your job or your routine or your health, where you're like, whatever was stagnant here is no longer stagnant. You're like, I got to change things up, or things are going to change on their own, because that's how eclipses often do things. And so you might notice that you lose your job, or you change jobs, or you suddenly start working out every day. There's like just a different way that you're taking care of yourself than you were before, or a different routine, or different kind of daily grind. And I think that this is also somehow responsible for this change in your confidence. So it's like, okay, I spotted this area of weakness. I see how I wasn't being confident and believing in myself. Now, because I'm addressing this, maybe I'm tolerating certain things less, or operating differently in my day-to-day life, or wanting to reach for more, or having a different kind of job, because I'm like, bro, why did I deal with this for so long? It's because I wasn't confident. I was self-sabotaging. Again, I think this has a lot to do with mental and physical health, though. So maybe for some of us, it's not even happening on the external level. Maybe it's fully internal. And our mental and physical health is changing because of our confidence in ourselves is changing. So that's pretty much the most part for the astrology, but I do have some other sets of cards. We have the 2 of Swords, the Strength, the 7 of Pentacles, and the 9 of Swords. There's definitely something that I feel like you guys have been navigating without knowing how to move forward on something. Like, you needed to make a decision on something. I do feel like it's work related because of the 7 of Pentacles, but you guys were like, I think that you guys were kind of trying to decide on something work related. Like, do I want to quit? Do I not want to quit? Do I want to move in this direction? Do I want to move in that direction? Do I want to take care of this responsibility in this way or that way? And I feel like you guys were just kind of not fully committing to a decision or not fully decided. And with the Strength card, it seems like you were hanging on for your dear life. You're like, all right, I'm just going to like maintain this uncomfortable, place of indecision. I burp so much when I'm doing readings, like on YouTube specifically. And I think it's because I'm channeling. Because I never burp like this otherwise. I mean, not that I never burp, but just like, anyway. Not like this. So the Strength card, you're definitely like maintaining something unnecessarily so. Like, or not unnecessarily so, but you're just like, it's almost like you're like fighting part of yourself with this Lion card. Part of you that wants to be wild and free, and this other part of you that's like, calm the fuck down. Let's not make any rash decisions. And then it's like, all right, it's time to shake that up with the Seven of Pentacles and Nine of Swords, because the Nine of Swords is like, this is just keeping me awake at night. This is making me feel like I have too many unknowns. And the Seven of Pentacles wants to like give its energy to something. It wants to commit to something. It wants to grow something long term. And it can't be like wishy-washy about whatever that is. I think for many of you, again, it's going to be work or health related, but there's some kind of decision that you need to commit to and put all of your energy into. And I think that Uranus and the Sun in the 6th house is going to help you finally decide. Eclipses can take 6 months to fully unravel, but I think the major decision is going to be happening soon. I also see the self-care card. So I really feel like you guys are learning how to love yourselves and give yourself like the mental and physical care that you need, again, because of your ability to see where you were lacking confidence. You're dismantling that block, and it's now allowing you to give yourself the love and the care that you need. Your advice card is a presence card. This really feels like just taking life one moment at a time, being fully present. And this is going to help you with any mental or physical issues that you're having or anxiety. You need to remain present and not project so much into the future, into the what ifs. I feel like the Two of Swords and the Nine of Swords really give that energy of like, I'm staying up late and I just like don't know what to do and I'm worried about this thing. There's so many unknowns. And it's like, let's be present. Let's not worry so much. In each moment, we know what decision to make. And when we're confronted with the decision or with what's actually happening, we will deal with it then. And otherwise, we will deal with what we're currently experiencing and love ourselves throughout this whole process. So that's what I'm seeing for you, Sagittarius. If that resonates, please let me know by liking and commenting down below. Don't forget to subscribe and share with your friends if you enjoy this, and have a great day. Bye. All right, Capricorn, Sun and Rising. This Scorpio eclipse happening on May 5th is occurring in your 11th house. In, of course, the sign of Scorpio, and that means the Sun is opposite the Moon in the sign of Taurus in your 5th house, and it's conjunct Uranus. So, because this eclipse has the Sun and Uranus together, we're expecting a lot of sudden changes, things being liberated, especially for you guys. I'm seeing a cycle of lack. Somehow you're liberating from that cycle of lack with the Five of Pentacles and the Fool card. This eclipse happening in your 11th house is a lot about you guys making some kind of endings to connections in your life, or even paths that you saw your life going down. The Scorpio eclipse is a lot about purging and a big emotional release. So maybe you are leaving a certain friend group, or maybe you had identified with a specific group of people, or a relationship, or a career, or something that you saw your life headed down, some path that you saw yourself headed down. And I really see you transitioning out of that. I see you just releasing that, basically. And with this, with the Sun and Uranus in the 5th house, this could really affect your sense of confidence and what you expect when you are meeting new people and new relationships in your life. The fifth house is often associated with dating as well, with intimacy, which is actually one of the advice cards that I pulled. It has a lot to do with our confidence in our relationship with ourselves and our ability to have certain expectations or desires and feel confident to follow our desires. The sun and Uranus in the fifth house is wanting you to find liberation in that area of your life. And it wants you to create. It wants you to produce. It wants you to follow your joy. It wants you to light up again. It wants you to have meaningful connections again and feel really authentic. I feel like whatever cycle you were in with the Five of Pentacles, it either was really, I feel like it was too much like trying to fit in or trying to fit in with what you expected of yourself or what others expected of you. It feels like it was like, I want to belong. And you're really realizing that that wasn't authentic to you. And you're coming into a place of releasing it entirely and understanding what you need for your soul and your highest good, and expecting the world to change around you to support that authentic expression instead of the other way around. And so I feel like you guys are going through a massive stage of healing with this Temperance card, where you are becoming a lot more aligned with yourself and you're becoming more full of yourself and your own energy. Because again, I feel like the 11th house is a lot where we conform, where we fit in, where we try to belong, and we reduce ourselves to these little molds, and it's uncomfortable. I feel like you're finally freeing out of that mold and you're healing all of those parts of you that you had to chop off to fit into that little space. And you're being, again, filled up with your own essence, your own energy, your own vitality, your own light. In this really beautiful way with this Temperance card. I think that the universe is really, really supporting you. Your angels and guides are supporting you. I just get the feeling that you are followed by those energies and looked down upon in a way that's supporting and helping you. So if you have questions, ask them, like talk to them. I really feel that they're present with you right now in this process of healing. We also have the Two of Pentacles, the Devil, and the Six of Swords. So I really feel like there was something in your life that you have been juggling. I kind of want to pull a clarifier. What is this Two of Pentacles? We have the Four of Cups. Yeah, I feel like there's something in your life where you were maybe making certain sacrifices in order to juggle multiple things. And you had lots of like plates spinning in the air. And I feel like some of the things that you sacrificed were actually your own needs or your own desires and your own wishes because of having multiple responsibilities or multiple expectations. I just saw 444. So this could be related to maybe your home or your family. Maybe you were sacrificing a lot for that, or your emotions or something. I mean, maybe not your emotions, because I'm getting the sense that you were neglected in some way, or that there were so many things that there was just literally not the capacity to take care of yourself in the way that you needed with this Four of Cups. It's almost like you turned away from opportunities that the universe was trying to provide to go out, to have fun, to get a massage, to take care of yourself, like whatever an opportunity was that could have felt really fun and exciting, a creative project, a birthday party, something like that, or a trip. It's like you were so busy that you were turning away from it. And I feel like you're now entering a phase where you are loosening up the shackles of responsibility or expectation or obligation, and you're moving into a phase of being light and free and just having you and your boat and the horizons ahead of you. With this Devil card before it, you were chained before, you were imprisoned before in some way, even if it was just in your mind. And you're now transitioning into a phase of being on the open road, being on the open sea, not really having like a very strong like set of routines or expectations or obligations, but having endless opportunities. And this could be in just one area of life. It doesn't have to be your entire life. But I really feel like with this eclipse happening in your 11th, one timeline and future possibility has shut down, and now a million little ones have opened up, and you're like, ooh, where do I want to go? and you're seeing these potentials for yourself, instead of trying to narrow it down and like choose. I don't think that this is a time of choosing. I feel like you've been choosing things for far too long, and now you're choosing yourself. And that's what the sun and Uranus in the fifth house wants. Choose your goddamn self. And that's what I feel like this lover intimacy card is. This is your advice. This is saying, like, be your own lover. Give yourself intimacy. Fill yourself up with your own light and your own support and your own compassion and creativity and fun. Like, do everything that you want to do with somebody else for yourself or on your own. Another card that describes the circumstance is she who sees, observe, perceive, and scrutinize. So I think it's time to start looking at your own perceptions of things, your own judgments, and scrutinizing them. Because I feel like you, with the Devil card, felt that there was something that you couldn't do, or you had to, again, had certain obligations or expectations, or trying to fit in or belong, or there's something about that you're challenging now, you're scrutinizing now, and you're like, wait, I just thought that was the truth or reality, but actually it was my way of viewing the situation or adapting to a situation, and I can choose something else. You're scrutinizing your past perception. That's what I feel. You also have Venus in Gemini in the sixth house, sextiling Jupiter in the fourth. So I really feel like you guys are finding some kind of improvement in your home, in your work, in your routine, in your health, that is supporting you in a much better way. And I think it's stabilizing your emotions. Again, I felt like there was something that you like neglected about yourself because of responsibility. And now that's changing to where you become a priority, and your emotions and your own well-being is a huge priority. And that becomes stabilized for you. Maybe you find a better living situation, a better work situation. Maybe you're just feeling better, taking care of your body better. But there's something about that that's becoming easeful, that's becoming supportive, that I felt like was, again, with this Five of Pentacles, like lacking. Like you weren't having that support. You weren't giving yourself that support. And now you're on your adventure. You're on your new beginning. And you're returning to yourself, which is super beautiful. So that's what I'm seeing for you, Capricorn. If that resonates, please let me know by liking, commenting down below. I love reading how your comments and your life experience pertains to what I'm saying. If you enjoyed this, please don't forget to subscribe and share with your friends, and have a great day. Bye. All right, Aquarius, Sun and Rising. This Scorpio eclipse is happening in your 10th house. The Sun is opposite it in Taurus, conjunct Uranus in the 4th house. So you guys are definitely going to go through some pretty major changes. This Scorpio eclipse is a lot about releasing something or ending something. And to be honest, like all the cards I was pulling for you guys were kind of negative. But I did ask Spirit, what are the benefits? Like, what are you getting out of whatever this experience is? And I got a lot of positive cards. So just know that whatever transition's happening now is leading you to something really beautiful on the other side. It just may be uncomfortable for a little bit. So the eclipse happening in the 10th house is definitely bringing about some endings or some changes within your career or life direction. Maybe a timeline that you thought you were going to head down is ultimately going to change. It's going to help you open up to new career possibilities or new potentials in your life and where you want to go. But you have to leave something behind in order to do so. These changes could be sudden because the Sun and Uranus are together. There could be some unexpected, surprising qualities to it that you, again, didn't expect, and that can be uncomfortable. With the Sun and Uranus in the 4th house, there can also be some changes happening in the home front, some instability around where you live or with your family members, and things kind of being a little bit chaotic in that area of your life, as well as emotionally. You might feel like there are a lot more ups and downs, and like you're really riding things out and not knowing where they're going to land. So it could feel like a really disorienting period of time where you are adjusting your entire life path while also feeling unsettled to where you are now and how you even feel emotionally. So it's like what I am imagining in my head is 2 points. One dot that's your current reality, the next dot that's your future projected reality, and they're connected on a string. Normally, we have one rooted. So either we don't know where we are now, but we have an idea of where we want to go, and so that's rooted. Or we don't know where we want to go, but we at least feel comfortable and safe where we are now, and so that's rooted. And it's like something, and then this moves around. But what I'm seeing is they're both untethered and they're just like wiggling around. And it's like you're not really rooted into a specific present or future reality, and it could feel extremely uncomfortable. But I feel like ultimately what's happening is you guys are ending some kind of cycle of lack. I think that whatever you are pursuing, I said this in another one of the readings, is a dead end or didn't have the abundance to offer you. There was never going to be that aha moment. There was never going to be that fruit of the labor. You kept trying, but it was like you're trying to have fertile soil and grow this lush garden in a desert, and it wasn't going to happen. So with the 10 of Swords and the 5 of Pentacles, it's finally realizing that the nutrients that you were looking for is never going to be there, and you're walking away. You're ending it. You're deciding that enough is enough. And maybe some of you, the endings will happen to you. But regardless, it's going to affect you on a really deep core level, because this is in your 4th and 10th house axis, which is primarily related to home and family, which is a huge aspect of our life. But it could also affect other areas of your life as well. I feel like that ending and knowing that you want to end that, though, is kind of setting you into a state of confusion. Maybe you know you want to end it, but you don't know how, or you're still deciding if you want to end it, or you do end it and you don't know what to do next. And you're in this state of like limbo. And again, just really being untethered and disoriented and not knowing, just a lot of not knowing. With the 5 of Cups, I really feel like it's getting to you emotionally. And I think you're going to be focusing around this eclipse a little bit too much on what is leaving your life. And that's to be expected, because this is a lot of energy that it's generating. Scorpio brings about a lot of intense emotions, a lot of fears. And again, being untethered as an Aquarius as a fixed sign is extremely uncomfortable. Change is not easy for Scorpio or Aquarius. So it's going to definitely put you into a little bit of a negative headspace for some period of time. And what the universe is encouraging you with this advice card, this embodiment card, is to feel all of the feelings, to be present for them, to be embodied in your body. Feel them in your body, feel them in your heart, feel them in your mind. And not try to avoid them, numb out, run away from them, but truly experience all of it. Just allow yourself to experience all of it. Because once the good comes, you'll be able to fully feel and experience all of the good as well. So I definitely feel like you guys are having some kind of important choice here with the 2 of Swords and this choice card. And you guys are making a choice at this eclipse or very near this eclipse. And this is likely around your home or career especially. I think it's weighing on you. I think you guys might even be looking at tarot readings. You might be looking for support outside of you, asking other people what they think, because this decision feels heavy. But what I love is that we have the Light, Serenity, and Beacon cards. So you're making this decision to pursue the path that feels lighter, because the current one feels dark, again, heavy, no outlet, end of the road, lack. Like that's how your current path feels. And you're like, okay, I have to, even though it might still feel like a decision, it's like kind of not a decision, because one of them is so much lighter than the other. It's just the unknown. And that can feel scary, but it's like you can see that beacon, that hope that things can be better, they can be different if you just choose this other way instead. So I really feel like this eclipse is trying to rid you of that dark path and put you in alignment with something that is so much lighter, easier, freer than before. You guys have Venus and Gemini in the 5th, sextiling Jupiter in the 3rd. So I really feel like you're able to get the support that you need socially right now. Have the important conversations. You have a little bit of a better luck in terms of conversations, actually, because because Jupiter's in the 3rd. But it's a time of trying to explore more of who you are and what feels better. And again, you're supported for that. And I asked the universe, like, okay, well, what's on the other side of this? This is a lot of dark cards. Like, what are they going to get as a result of making these decisions? I got the Empress, the Lovers, and the Ace of Wands. So abundance, finding the perfect job, the perfect house, the perfect partner, with the Lover's card. This is a soulmate energy of whatever it is that you want wants you back, and you will attract it. And the Empress is saying that you can be in a state of abundance, being totally supported, totally receiving. Whereas before you were in the Five of Pentacles, where it was like so much energy gets into something that you get nothing back from. And that's changing to where there's so much lush energy around you. You can just pick up the apple off the tree and there's hundreds of other apples. It's that feeling of you are provided for. And the last one, the Ace of Wands, you are creative, you are inspired, you are excited about life again. You have energy, your vitality again. It's not just like this feeling of getting on the hamster wheel and moving along and going nowhere. It's like, no, you're re-engaging with your life. So that's what's on the other side of this experience. So you just have to move through the discomfort, feel it, embody it, allow it to pass, the ebbs and the flows, and trust that you will make the right choice and that you are turning towards brighter days. So that's what I'm seeing for you, Aquarius. If that resonates, please let me know by liking, commenting down below. Don't forget to subscribe and share with your friends, and have a beautiful day. Bye. All right, Pisces, Sun, and Rising. The Scorpio eclipse is happening in your 9th house, and it's a full moon eclipse, so it's definitely going to bring up a lot of energy, a lot of emotion. And the sun is opposite the moon in Taurus in your 3rd house, conjunct Uranus. So I kind of feel like with the sun and Uranus in your 3rd house, there may be some unexpected conversations or realizations that happen during this eclipse period of time, where it starts to change and alter your perception of reality. And with the eclipse happening in the 9th, where the moon is, I think you're actually letting go of a belief system that you have had for a while. I think that there may be something in your life that you have held on to for control. With this Emperor card, I feel like you've been holding on to something. The Emperor is the ruler of the roost. He has everything in order. And this might be something that you're gaining out of this eclipse, or it could be something that you're deciding is you need to change your relationship with it. The Emperor could be like an entity, like a business, an institution, something that you're a part of, that you're deciding is like has too much control in your life, or it's maybe some aspect of yourself that you've held on to for too much control. There's just some element here of like being in charge or an authority that's either within you or that you have committed to, that I feel like you are deciding to leave behind, with the 10 of Swords next to it. I think whatever this was making you feel a sense of lack with the 5 of Pentacles, maybe even financial lack. So let's say you're in a job where you have good, like, you know, superiority, like you have a higher up position, like you're a manager, you have some free kind of autonomy and you can do what you want to some extent, but it's almost like the weight of that was too much in your life. And so you decide it's not worth the amount of money. I'm going to change jobs with less responsibility and focus more on what I want to do and what brings me joy. There's something about this where I feel like you were committed to something, or you were in control of something, or you're in charge of something, or you dedicated to yourself to something else that had a control over you and authority over you, that you're like, no, this isn't providing for me what I thought. I want happiness. I want vitality. I want clarity. I want purpose. And that's not coming through that previous method. It's going to have to change. And this is very much something that I think the 9th house tries to get us to do, is it tries to help us see how the way that we have been looking at life is keeping us small. So there was existing beliefs that you guys had about the way the world works, or about yourself, or about life, that may have kept you in this Emperor position, devoted to something that you actually don't like. Maybe it was a belief that, you know, people have to work a 9 to 5 to make money and to live, and so I have to do that. Or maybe it's a belief that life is hard and money is hard to make, and I have to work it this way, and blah, blah, blah. But there's something that I feel like was almost like some kind of perception of reality that felt like an albatross. If you guys have ever read that story, where this bird, this really big bird that's out at sea, this guy kills it and he has to wear it around his neck. It felt like something that you were wearing around your neck that was weighing you down, and you didn't realize that you could just take it off. And I feel like during this eclipse season, you're going to start to feel that this energy within you is changing, and that you can look at life differently and have different perceptions of reality and expectations and desires and standards and beliefs about yourself. And then when that happens, you're like, wait, I can do anything I want. Wait, I can have more fun. This doesn't mean that you're just going to up and quit your job overnight. Although I will say, with Sun and Uranus in the third house, there can be conversations, decisions, perceptions that change like that come out of the blue, that are surprising, that come out of left field. And you guys might go through something like that where there is a suddenness to it, to whatever this is, even if it takes a full 6 months to unfold, which is the timeline of an eclipse. But with this card, we have wisdom, clarity, resolution. So I really feel like there's something about your wisdom that is enhancing. You are becoming more in tune with yourself and your desires and your playfulness and your true nature that I feel like you were suppressing in some way because of erroneous belief systems. Like, oh, life is just like that. No, wait, life is not just like that. I decided life was like that. Your advice card is the innocence card. I feel like you're returning to a state of your childlikeness where you felt like you could do what you wanted or anything was possible. Remember when you were a kid and it's like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And you just choose whatever you want to be instead of all these expectations or standards or rules or ways of being. And it's limited us and limited us and limited us. And then you get so constrained in this little box that you're no longer who you authentically were meant to be. And I feel like this eclipse is breaking you out of that, breaking your mind open and free and allowing yourself to feel what it could be like to do whatever you want to do, whatever purely drives your heart and your enthusiasm. And that's also what lights the world up and what makes you healthier and stronger and more vital. And I feel like in many ways, again, you guys have felt disillusioned or trapped, or like you were in this other reality and it's almost like you couldn't see it clearly. And now with this Tower card coming through, you can see clearly that this thing that you thought had to be there to protect you or to keep you safe or that you needed for some reason in your life, that it was actually trapping you. And you start to look at the walls around you like confinement rather than a home or security, and they come crumbling down in this really profound but beautiful way. Because the Tower, underneath the Tower is the Eight of Swords and the Seven of Cups. It was anxiety that kept you there. It was delusion and lying to yourself that kept you there, misperceiving reality instead of actually wanting it, right? It wasn't like that you truly desired that. It was that you felt like you couldn't leave. With this Eight of Swords, you're realizing, oh, wait, I can leave. This thing that has me all wrapped up, it's like tissue paper, and I could just go and blow it off myself and walk away. You have Venus and Gemini in the fourth house, sextiling Jupiter in the second. So you're very supported right now financially, in your home, in deciding where to live, in your relationships with your family. You have a lot of emotional or physical or monetary support to make these changes. So you might have felt like, I can't do that because of money. I can't make this change because of this. But actually, you have a lot more than you realize. And you are, again, more supported than you realize. So you can make these changes. It might not happen all at once, but you really, really can. So that is what I'm seeing for you, Pisces. I hope that resonates. If it does, please don't forget to like and comment down below. I love to read your comments about how it applies to your life. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to subscribe and share with your friends, and have a great day. Bye.